Yesterday evening, we understood something about Asparsha Yoga. It is said to be not in touch with anything. The Atman or Brahman is not in touch with anything. But very hard to be perceived. Those who are attached to action, it is very hard to be perceived, and then those who are attached to action are afraid of losing their own existence. And others also are not able to experience it because of the lack of discrimination. The opponent previously asked a question. If Atman is everywhere and it is in everybody, why everybody is not experiencing that? So for that, he told, hard to perceive. And many are afraid of losing their existence and they are not having discrimination. That's why they don't perceive. Whose mind is purified by actions and worship or upasana in their past, get this knowledge of non-dualism by restraining the mind very easily. That he told, but for the low and medium, out of lack of medium aspirants, it is difficult. Why he said low and medium? To some extent, they have purified the mind by doing ritualistic actions, following the scriptures, but their mind is still having oscillations because of sufficient practice of upasana. Until and unless, yesterday we heard that Vidyaranya Muni has done for so many years so much of austerities, worship. That is upasana. By that only the mind can be controlled. So, but they are having a pure mind, no doubt, because they have followed scriptural injunctions, Vedic rites, etc. But still, their mind is oscillating. That comes down only through worship, upasana. So because upasana was not there in their last life, he says, they are low and medium outlook, are low and medium intellectual, we can say. For them it is little difficult. And not only this, in some of them, they are not following Vedanta. They are following what you call this Bauddhas and Vaisheshikas. Mind is associated with the self, and the mind is something different from the self. Mind, of course, it is different, but then what is difference in our telling and their concept? We say mind is different, but they think the mind as real. But we say it is not real, it is simply superimposed. That is the difference. everlasting peace depend upon the control of mind. Conquest of mind will become possible through absence of dejection. Aparikedhataha. He says you will be getting everlasting peace by controlling the mind. You can conquest the mind only through absence of dejection. That is, he says, then persistent effort without dejection is sufficient for conquering the mind. That was again question put. Persistent effort without dejection is sufficient for conquering the mind. So the proponent says, no, there are so many other obstructions. Obstructions are laya, vikshep, kashaya, rasaswad, sukha, raga, dvesha, desire for objects. If you are having one of these, you will be having opposite thoughts. Opposite thoughts, besides the Atman, your mind will be thinking something else, which is different from Atman. Or simply we can say, it will be thinking of the world, a body, or mind, or attachment. Then if the mind is well settled in sleep, restraint is not necessary. Mind is well settled in sleep, so what necessary is there to restrain the mind? Then he says, all above told obstructions are there, but sleep is like desire. It is having evil effects. So, and this he has discussed previously also, in the sleep. So many impressions are there in the mind with all vicious deeds, all these things he told. So, it is not simply from sleep you can restrain the mind. Now he is asking, besides sleep, some obstacles are there, but I want to restrain the mind. So, what is the proper means to control the mind? He says, it is dispassion and discrimination. Only two things. Dukkham sarvam anusmritya kama bhogan nivartayet ajam sarvam anusmritya jatam naivatu pashyati. Two things here. Page 454. So he says, Dukkham sarvam anusmritya. By remembering that attachment to the objects, they give dukkham, sorrow and difficulties. And then remembering that what you have to do, kama bhoga nivartiyet. Give up all the attachment for the objects. Kama bhoga nivartayet, he says. Then, ajam sarvam anusmritya. What else you have to do? Now, thinking of the past experience, when you are attached to a particular object, you had some difficulty. You felt sorry and sorrow also. So thinking that you have to give up the objects. So previously we told attachment is death, detachment is life. And ajam sarvam anusmritya, nothing is created. Ajam sarvam, he says. Nothing is created in this world. Atman is real. And if nothing is created, what will be there? Your own self, nothing else. Remembering that, Jatan naivatu pashyati, he will not see anything that it has been created. Jatam naivatu pashyati. Remembering that everything is productive of grief, you see. One should withdraw one's mind from the enjoyment of objects of desire. So, everything is productive of grief, he says. Similarly, remembering that everything is unborn, Brahman. One does not certainly see the born or the duality. Now, again he is asking, Ajam, nothing is born. Whichever is created, that is superimposed. Its existence is not there. How to know? He says, Jnanabhyasat, Sravana Manana Nidhyasana. Jnanabhyasa means Sravana Manana Nidhyasana. That is the upayantaram, that is the proper means to know. Then Kasa Upaya, what is the proper means he has asked. He says, now we are telling how dispassion comes. Now again he is asking, how dispassion comes? By seeing, see that the worldly objects are transitory. They are unreal. They give sorrow. Dukkhalaya masashvatam. 8:15 in Gita. Sri Krishna says, Dukkhalayam. What is this world? It is full of sorrow, he says. And not permanent. We are not telling. Who is telling? Sri Krishna is telling. So, we should have full faith, full belief, and we should follow up to the letter. And then he says, Dukkha dosha anudarshanam. How to get the dispassion? By seeing the difficulties or sorrow in the objects of the world or worldly objects. The moment you see that the particular object is very nice, very beautiful, but you are gone. Dhyayato vishyan pumsa sangasteshu upajayate. You know this sloka very well. So, then how to reject an object? Just by discrimination. Then only you will get dispassion. If discrimination is not there, dispassion will not come. If dispassion is not there, you cannot think that the world is unreal. If you don't think in that line, you will not contemplate on the Atman. See, all are interlinked. Sarvadvaita vidya vijrumbitam dukkhameva iti anusmritya. All duality born of ignorance is a source of sorrow. Remembering this, one should withdraw one's mind from the enjoyment arising out of desire. Kama bhogat kama nimitto bhogaha ichha vishaya tasmat viprasriptam. You should, what he said, one should withdraw, remembering what? Because of ignorance, the all duality brings sorrow. One should withdraw one's mind from the enjoyment arising out of desire, ever armored with dispassion. So, while fighting in olden days, there was a sword and armor. That is called kavacham in Sanskrit. So, that should be there. This is the meaning. So, dispassion, remembering that everything is unborn Brahman. And again what you have to do? Tasmad viprasritam mano nivartayet. Thinking that the enjoyment of the objects is not real, you have to withdraw the mind. Vairagya bhavanaya, with dispassion. Then again what you have to do? Ajam Brahma Sarvam iti. That nothing is born. And nothing is born, simply telling nothing is born will not do, he says. Everything is Brahman. If nothing is born, when we are in duality, we are seeing everything. Then how to see? Isavasamidam sarvam. See that everything is Brahman. Through the scripture and the instructions of the teachers, you have to know that everything is Brahman. Through scriptures and the instructions of the teachers, one does not ever see anything that is opposite to it. That is nothing. Besides Brahman, nothing is there. And opposite to it, born of duality, since it does not exist then. From his standpoint of view, when he covers everything with Brahman, when he is not seeing any duality, that the object is separate, I am the enjoyer, I am the seer, like that, he is not feeling any duality. And then what he is doing? He is seeing the non-duality everywhere, Atman. In him as well as outside. At the same time, with full discrimination and alertness and dispassion, he should remove all the attachment to the body, mind and senses. Telling that everything is Brahman and having the attachment of the body will not go together.
He should cover everything with this
Brahman.
Brahman. And again, we hear it here. So this English word which is used to cover, I wonder if it is a good translation.
Cover in the sense, Vasu Achadane. The Sanskrit word is Achadana, so he has used as cover, but actually you see what the scripture says, that everything is unreal and it is superimposed. So, afterwards what he says, Isavase medagam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Whatever is there, movable, unmovable, inert, everything, just cover with Brahman, in the sense, you should see only the Atman, not Brahman. Then he says, with that knowledge, tena, tektena bhunjita. Have complete dispassion, give up everything, and protect yourself. Bhunjita means not eating. He says, bhunjita means you have to protect yourself. Palayata. Bhunjita, palayata, tena. What is that tena? By that. By that, the knowledge which you have got by covering everything. as rather seeing everything as Atman. We cannot cover, you see. Huh? There is some little illustration they give. They say a thief was there and he was running away in the thorn bushes. So, you cannot cover the whole garden or the bushes with something so that you can catch him. What you will do? You wear a shoe and you can run behind him. So, in the same way, we are seeing everything. So, what we have to do? We have to change the thinking from ourselves. Everything is Brahman. That means, though the scripture says cover everything, finally, because we are in duality, we are having the body, we cannot cover anything, then what we do? We change our concept that everything is Brahman. So in that way, because Vasu Achadane, that particular word, comes in Sanskrit as covering. That's why you must have used as cover.
Sixth pontiff Swami Vishnu Devanand Giriji has written a footnote, especially on this word. Achhadaniyam means covering. He says Vishayikaraniyam. It should be made in such a way you should feel it, you should think that everything is Brahman. Vishayikaraniyam.
Vishayikaraniyam, when you want to see an object, that is an object. But what is the object here? Brahman. So he has translated Vishayikaraniyam means that whatever you are seeing is Brahman. What is the object of seeing? That is Brahman. That is, here it says covering.
Elsewhere he says that you cannot cover even the ether.
That's why.
To cover the Brahman. So that is the reason.
And that also I told you we should not, we can change our concept. But here he says, because you are the seer, an object should be there. The object, see the object as Brahman. Vishayikaraniyam. All duality born of ignorance is a source of sorrow. Remembering this, one should withdraw one's mind from the enjoyment arising out of desire. See, he is not telling arising out of the object. That means the happiness is not there in the object. It is within you. The whole world is within you. Ever armed with the dispassion. This is the meaning. Remembering that everything is the unborn Brahman through the scriptures and the instructions of the teachers. One does not ever see anything that is opposite to it and born duality, since it does not exist then. Nothing is there besides the Brahman, and he says nothing is born. So no duality. But still, he is an aspirant. He is not sitting in samadhi. He is moving in the world. So, he says, Achhadaniyam in the sense, you have to see as Brahman or make the object as Brahman. Now, he has given that the subcommentator, he has given so many abstractions. Laya, Vikshep, Kashaya, Rasaswad, Sukha, Raga, so many things he has given. So, some he is taking. Where from he got this? The subcommentator has to explain the commentary or the original karika. So, when he writes something, some support should be there. So, where from he got that support? By reading the following karikas. Not by himself he is writing. But when we read, we think, oh, this explanation, subcommon explanation is right. But afterwards, when you see, now we see, he says, the karika karalaye, when you get sleep, what you have to do? He's telling. Uh, uh, that I already told. No, previously, you see, in page 453, he told that we will tell afterwards the means. That what are the means? That practice of knowledge and dispassion, discrimination. Now here he is telling. That's why in 453 he told that we will let you know later on. That here he is telling. That the sub-commentator, that already I told, Jnanabhyasakyam upayantaram. So now he is telling, Laye sambodhaye chittam vikshiptam samayet punaha. He says, when you get sleep, you should awaken it. You should be alert, not to get. Vikshiptam samayet, when it is oscillating, take the support of dispassion and control it. He says, Sakashayam vijaniyat. You should know what are the latent impressions that are in the subconscious mind. It says vijaniyat. That how you know? Last time I told, how you know that your mind is purified? By seeing your own dreams. So in the dreams, you can very easily understand where is your mind. In dreams, what you will understand? Where is your mind? So from that, you should understand, still in my subconscious mind, these things are there. Some anger, some lust, some desire, something is there. So know that. He says, Vijaniyat. First, you know yourself. Nobody is going to tell you what is there in your subconscious mind. What are the desires? So he says, Kashayam. Previously, I used to translate it as decanted matter. Decanted matter, decoction, you see, especially in Ayurveda, they take some herbs, they put 3-4 liters of water, make it 1 liter, a half liter. So they boil, and they concentrate. So that we say decoction. Kashaya is decoction, that is decanted matter, we say. But here, this, how he translates, we will see. Vijaniyat samam praptam na chalayet. After knowing, you should remove them. Then you will be getting into Brahman. You will be knowing, experiencing the Brahman. So same thing previously also we heard. Atma samstam manakritva nakinchidapi chintayet. 825 again. 815 is dukkhalaya masashvatam. 825 Atma samstam manakritva nakinchidapi chintayet. So Atma samstam manakritva. Simply dissolve the mind in the Atman. Then don't think of anything else, he says. Atma samstam manakritva nakinchidapi chintayet. That he is telling here. Samam prapya na chalayet.
absorbed,
dissolved.
dissolved in a state of laya,
Ah,
and it assumes a seed form.
now mind assumes a seed form.
Then later on it re-emerges. So there we hear about one type of
Dissolution.
one type where the mind dissolves in laya, in ignorance, assumes a seed form, then it re-emerges. Now here, Swamiji said the mind needs to dissolve in the Atma. But this will be a different type of dissolution.
Dissolution is the same, but their mind is carrying all the impressions. So he says, Prajnana Ghana, everything is there, but it is concentrated. But here nothing is there. You see, he showed Laya, Vikshepa, Kasaya, three things he told. Remove all these things. Mind is pure. No latent impressions in it. Then dissolve it. So, in the sleep, we are dissolving it with all dirt. Here, we have purified the mind and then we are dissolving.
Just to conclude this, Swamiji, in the previous example, in sleep, this is the dissolution of the impure mind.
Yes.
And in this case that Swamiji mentioned, the dissolution of the mind in the Atman, this is the dissolution of the pure mind.
Pure mind. So, otherwise, we cannot explain even the scripture. He says, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. The mind with speech, it comes back. In one place he says. And again in another place, manasai vanudrashtavyam. You have to see, you have to experience only through mind. Drishyate tvagriya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadasibhi. If mind is concentrated, then you can experience. Then how the both things will go? How you coincide? How you reconcile? So in one place it is the impure mind, in another place it is the pure mind.
One more question, Swamiji.
Since 2-3 days I was thinking you are not asking anything whether you are happy or not, that I wanted to know.
I'm happy, Swami. When we study about the 7 jnana bhumikas,
Yes.
then we get to the sattvapati. Is the sattvapati the stage where the mind is pure?
Sattvapati is the fourth one or fifth one? Fourth. No,
Not pure yet.
not pure yet. You see, the below 3, he says the mind is below the navel. He says. So when Sattvapati comes, he just started thinking of the higher things. So it is not completely pure. And in the fifth one, I don't know the name, Asam Shakti, there it is almost pure. Then he says, he thinks of Atman and Atman alone. Whereas in the fourth state he is. So in the fifth state, the Atman is pure. That's why he thinks only of the mind thinks, mind is pure, and he thinks of the Atman alone. And then, after this, he says, he starts merging. But if somebody wakes him up, he comes out, otherwise he will not come out. He goes to the 7th plane. So, below 3 planes, that is ordinary person. He says the mind is below the navel, he says. Thinking of the base ideas or base things. But fourth one, it just comes about a little, about the navel, the mind comes, and he started discrimination, and he started seeing the mind and the Atman as separate and started thinking of this, but mind is not completely purified. That is, he has to do still practice or the actions without hankering for fruits, and so much of upasana or worship he has to do to purify the mind. Then only he gets the concentrated mind. When one's mind concentrated, then he can directly think of the Atma. So it comes in the fifth stage. This all it is very clearly written in detail in Jivan Mukti Viveka by Vidyaranya Swami. If you are having that book, you can see. The mind that is in deep sleep should be awakened. Deep sleep of what? Both this sleep as well as ignorance. Ignorance also sleep, he says, so it should be awakened. And the mind that is distracted should be brought back to tranquility again by upasana. One should know the mind as passion tinged, he says. Yes. Tinge is there and should not disturb it when it has attained the state of equilibrium. You should not disturb it. Now here you see why the laya comes. Now sub-commentator also did not tell anything here. The sixth pontiff, he has given some of the reasons. I have not taken that complete footnote, but little whatever is necessary I have taken. It comes out of indigestion, he says. Indigestion of the stomach, and how much amount your mind needs to take rest, that much you have not taken. Nidra shesha. That means you have to take, say, some at least 5 hours or 6 hours. You have slept only for 4 hours. So you sleep in the class. What else? Not yourself. Our pontiff used to tell, oh, you are already getting samadhi in the class. Ajina, and or else you have taken more food. Bahuvasana.
Indigestion, you mean too much food?
No. Indigestion means what you have taken, eaten, that it is not digested. But it is digesting, but you have taken more quantity than necessary.
So you get sleepy.
Then, and you have worked more.
Physical labor.
Physical labor you have done more. So these are all the 4 reasons that you get sleep. These things you have to avoid. Completely you should sleep. That's why that Sri Krishna says, yuktahara viharasya yukta karma. He says everything. Limited, whatever sleep is necessary, that much. So much of work only. In proportion. And that much you should eat all these things. Yuktahara viharasya yukta chestava bodhasu. It comes. So, these are the 4 reasons he gives for laya. And if the laya is repeated, or if the oscillation is there, then with dispassion you should remove. Have complete dispassion. This vairagya, you see, we think we are having, but the mind suddenly it goes without asking towards the objects. That means dispassion you are showing out. Mithyachara uchyate. Sri Krishna says, he has left externally, But mentally he's thinking, what is the use?
English lo danni hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy of the mind.
Hypocrisy.
So here he says, if the mind is disturbed, it will disturb. Why? Because in so many births we have brought so many impressions. And now all of a sudden, how can you take out? It is not a thing that should be cleaned like a vessel, the mind, and they are all latent, that we have already told, like the roots of Ashwatha Vriksha, they are so deep rooted. And this also I have told, the conscious mind is only 1/8 portion. And according to some Purana, I think our teacher told me, actually it is not written anywhere. And the subconscious mind is 7/8 portion, he says. And you can understand how many impressions must be there. And according to Puranas, he says, the impressions of 6 births are there in your subconscious mind. And the 7th birth now you are taking as prarabdha. For this also, I gave an illustration. Of course, in India it is different. It may be nowadays you see everything is, they have spoiled, all inorganic, organic they have removed. All inorganic, simply put some powder, make it ripe and sell it. But in olden days, you see, especially the mango. In the mango season, now I am going back to my childhood, which I have seen. So they used to have a special room, it's not our special room here, a room separately to ripen the mangoes. So it is, all the windows are closed, and this dried grass they used to put up to such level, and then they used to keep all the fruits there. And they used to close the doors. So after that, this unripe they have put. So after 2 days, if they open, such a good smell used to come. Ripe mangoes. And they used to take out whatever is ripened. Rest they used to leave for the ripening for the tomorrow. That's in the same way. The Purana says 7 lives impressions are there in the mind. So what is ripening? Those actions which are ready to get result, they take as birth. The 7th one. So still 6 lives impressions are there in reserve. Oh, that is where it is. It is in subconscious mind. That is Kashaya. That is Kashaya. So it may be good, it may be bad. That's why here the commentator uses, in sleep there are so many impressions that even they produce vicious deeds, he says. Like that it is there. So that is Kashaya. Now, when it is oscillating through dispassion, you can stop it. But still, that Kashaya is there. It is very latent. That also, knowing that, we have to remove that, he says. For this, 1 or 2 illustrations previously I gave. Whether you remember or not, I don't know. See, I told 2 illustrations I gave. I will try to remind you again. One, there was an avadhuta. Avadhuta, that means having so much of, say, dispassion and discrimination as well. and stark naked. They just used to move. Whatever used to get, that much they used to eat. So, one particular Avadhuta, when he was passing by the side of a sugarcane garden, now you remember? So, he felt a little thirsty, took a sugarcane and ate it. He was about to go. By the time the owner or the gardener has seen and started scolding the Swamiji. Simply he did not feel anything. So he started going. But the same Avadhuta, he met another Avadhuta. After 12 years of this incident, after 12 years, then he got angry on that gardener. What my mistake is there? Why you should get angry? Why you should scold me? Now he is getting angry. That means this particular impression of anger is there as a seed in his subconscious mind. This is one illustration I gave, and the well without the walls, I gave another illustration. So, in olden days, especially in the villages, there was used to be only one well for all the villages. So, in some places it is having a wall and they used to take out, but in other places it is up to the ground level and they used to put big this wooden these things and they used to stand and they used to take water, planks. So one that was there and it is in the night time, who is going to see? And just they used to keep a little away from the village so that in the night nobody can go that side. But in nearby forest, there were some animals and one bigger one, maybe tiger or a lion, whatever it may be. So it has a running behind a smaller one. It's prey, say deer or hare, something. So what happened? Because of the night, the prey did not see anything and just it has fallen in the well. Hearing the sound, the tiger went back because it is no more prey. They can see in the night. See, if you go in the forest, some of them they go to see the animals. Only they see the eyes. And all these animals can see in the night very clearly, unlike man. So somehow this prey has fallen, and what will happen then? No, it is dead, but the water was getting bad smell, stinking. Smell was coming.
That's what Swamiji said, that it died in the well.
In the well and water was smelling bad. So what the villagers thought, now he gives all these examples. Let us sit by the side and pray, do pranayama, or do chant some mantras. The water is purified. He says, no. Then somebody told, see, this is not the procedure. You bring some, this lavender and all this, what? The good smelling liquids. What you call? Aromatic. No, some special word is there, whatever it may be. So aromatic, all the things, you put there, so much, so that you will get good smell of the water. They poured, nothing is coming. And then somebody told, you remove the old water. Whatever water is there, you remove. Then fresh water will come, it will not give smell. 1 or 2 days it was all right. But again from the 3rd day, 4th day, it started smelling. Why? Because the died animal is there in the marshy soil. Now what you have to do? Simply doing above will not do. You should go down and remove that dead animal's body. Then only fresh water will come. Even you see, in olden days, they used to remove the mud also from the below. That I have seen. First they pump out all the water and they remove the mud also. In the same way, that is called kashaya. It is so deep, so from externally you do some aromatic this thing and do japam and you, just like karma yoga, nothing will happen. You should know first what is there inside in your mind. The deep impression. Another illustration I gave. You remember?
We will remember, Swamiji, once you start saying. We feel ashamed every time when you say you remember.
All right, they will not ask it onwards.
We feel very ashamed that we are saying with so much effort and we don't remember. So please.
That is all right. Otherwise, that's why I am here to,
Yeah, but every time you
to remind you.
we feel ashamed.
I am here to remind you, don't worry. The other example, illustration, is the other type of well. In villages, there used to be the well with walls. So the walls they used to construct with all the stones, good stones. They used to construct. But constantly they used to drag the water through a rope and some bucket, something. Coconut rope and the bucket. What happens, you see, the coconut rope is very thin, but the wall of the well is so strong. Because of constantly dragging, there will be lines on the wall of the well. In the same way, in your previous verse, constantly thinking of one thing, they have made a deep impression. That is called kashaya. You have to remove. That he says. Prabala Vasa. So, he says our footnotes, Raga Dveshadi Prabala Vasana. Maybe attachment or jealous or enmity, but they are so strong, he says, Prabala. So that's why he gave these illustrations. One is from my own thoughts and another I heard from somebody. Again and again practice, take away all these oscillations by practicing, and kashaya is raga dveshadi prabala vasana vashena. The same thing is written here, and because of this there was attachment and some jealousy, and because of this your mind is not getting concentrated, then chittam nirundhyat. From that you should know that first, what is the kashaya. Then try to remove. But these things, they disturb you so much. these latent impressions, they will disturb you so much. You should be very careful. For this also I gave one illustration. See, you take a small kerchief. Kerchief, you understand? Handkerchief. So you hold one corner and shake it well. So if your hold is not proper, what will happen? So these impressions, kasaya, they will shake you. Now you are shaking the handkerchief, but the impressions will shake your mind. At that time, what you have to do? Our hold should be strong. Then the kerchief will not go, handkerchief. What is this hold? I am the Atman, I am the Brahman, I am not the mind, I am the witness of the mind, and nothing is real. All these thoughts of Vedanta will help you at that time. If you don't remember, you will run behind the mind. So that is the hold. With that, you have to remove all the kasaya. He says, Chittam nirundhyat. He says, Atmasamstam manakutva nakinchidapi chinte. That what Sri Krishna told. These all things from footnote we have taken. Now we are going to sub-commentary. Jnanabhyasa vairagyabhyam. And with the practice of jnana-abhyasa, sravana manana nidhyasana, and vairagya is dispassion, you should remove the laya and vikshepa. He says, and to be awakened from sleep, and this, with the dispassion, you should have the discrimination also. He says, discrimination. If it is attached there to something, the mind is attached to something because of the previous impressions, then you should do Sravana Manana Nididhyasana. That he says, till you reach from Savikalpa to Nirvikalpa, then how long we have to do this Sravana Manana Nididhyasana? Till you reach Nirvikalpa, he says. Have to remove the obstacles. This laya, vikshepa, everything you have to remove. Evam anena jnanabhyasa vairagyadvaya upayena. Jnanabhyasa is Sravana Manana Nididhyasana, and vairagya is dispassion and discrimination. These are the means you have to remove from laye sushupte leenam sambodhayet. If you get sleep, you should awaken it. And atma viveka darshanena yojayet. Then after waking up, what you have to do? You start discrimination. Atma vivechana. Viveka darshanena yojayet. You should engage your mind in discrimination. That he says. With help of Sravana, think the objects are momentary and they all get destruction, then dispassion increases. Because you are hearing the scriptures, with the help of this scriptural knowledge, you should think objects are momentary, transitory, and all are destroyed and they are all unreal. Then only this vairagya increases, this passion increases. Then atma viveka darshanena. Afterwards, what you should do? You have to discriminate between the real and the unreal. Think the mind is different from Atman, and merge it in Atman. Mind or chitta. Chittam manaha iti anarthantaram. Mind is having four things, is it not? So, mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. So the chitta is not different from the mind. Chittam mana iti anarthantana. Vikshiptancha kama bhogeshu samayet punaha. Now he says, if it is oscillating, make it calm by practicing again and again. Evam punah punar abhyaso layat sambodhitam vishayebhya vyavartitam. You have overcome the sleep and you have removed all the objects which are disturbing you. Vishayebhya vyavartitam. The desires will be distracting you, and from them you should bring it back. Napi samyapannam antaralavastam sakashayam saragam bija sanyuktam manaiti vijaniyat. Now you see, you are not having sleep. Oscillations are not there, but something will be there. He says, the intermediate stage. That he says, what is that intermediate stage? He says, this Kashaya. Kashaya is the intermediate stage. So, Samyapannam Antaralavastam, intermediate stage.
What would be a good translation in English of Kashaya?
Kashaya, Sakashayam. But it is not at the same time settled down in a state of tranquility and is in an intermediate state, then the mind should be known as passion tinged. Intermediate stage, he says, Sakashayam means with latent impressions. Residue we can say. But vasana. But deep-rooted vasanas, not vasanas in the external stage. That is not superficial. No. And Sakashayam, you should know. Saragam, attachment also you should know. Bija Sanyuktam. You can say all the impressions in seed form. In seed form. The seed, you see, if you keep the seed, it will not sprout. But when favorable conditions are there, you are having the, say, earth, you have put the seed there, and some light is there, some manure is there, you have given the water, then it starts sprouting. So when the favorable conditions they come, these impressions which are in seed form, they start sprouting. So you can say the then the mind should be known as passion tinged. This also we can say passion tinged Kashaya. And as remaining in a sea state, that also is said. Bija Sanyuktam sea state, Saragam is passion tinged, and Sakashaya is intermediate state. It says intermediate state, that is, it has not gone to the tranquility. And Laya and Vikshepa are not there. Then why it is not going to tranquility? Why it is not getting concentration? Something is there. That he says intermediate state, where these all latent impressions are there. As tatopi yattatha samyam apadayet. So, this attachment, this intermediate state, this seed form, first you should know. And then you should, with effort, here one has to do more efforts. I will give another illustration. It is not exactly, we can say that is illustration for this point, but some similarity is there. When the individual, one who goes to heaven, and while coming back, first he becomes the form of ether. He is not uniting with ether. He becomes something like ether, then water, then clouds and water, then he comes down to the earth. After coming down, he takes the support of a particular seed which we eat. Food grains. So from that state, to enter into the womb of the mother is very difficult. Why? That grain, some animal may take, or the subtle body is coming through the water, and it has fallen in the sea, and that water was drank by some fish. So this is a human being entered into a fish. That fish will be becoming big, it has to die, and again the subtle body should come up, and again it should go to the all the clouds, again it should come down. See. All right, again it has come down, and it was on a rock, on a mountain. So the subtle body will be drying up there, again it has to go. No, it is not like that. Somebody has eaten. A small boy has eaten. Or an old gentleman has eaten 8 years, 9 years. So how the sprout will come? So many difficulties are there. And it is a food grain. And a cat has taken. Or a dog has eaten. Then what you will do? That particular animal should die. Again it has to come, go up, and again it is come into form. So many difficulties are there. With all these difficulties, population is increasing like anything. That is the wonder.
In India, there are some Western countries, I think Japan or Singapore, population is decreasing and they are worried about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Europe.
You need to specially mention in India.
In India and China.
Asian countries.
So many difficulties are there. What for? The seed that which is coming down from the heaven to enter into the mother's womb, so much difficulties it has to undergo. In the same way, this seed form, the kashaya, which is very latent in the mind, you don't understand in the beginning. When you start meditating, then it. So these all the deep-rooted impressions, somehow you should get rid of, then only the oscillation of the mind stops. It gets concentration. Otherwise, your all practices are considered as only superficial. So Sri Ramakrishna says, if you simply swim in the upper layer of the ocean, you will not get the gems and mother pearls, other things. You should dive deep into the water, he says. This. You should dive deep in the sense, we have to dive deep into the mind and remove all these things. But one thing wonderful, Gaudapadacharya is telling so many things. Afterwards, you see what all the practices, what are all I told, it is only duality. If you are getting attached to these things, you will never get the non-duality. So, this is as a passing remark we have told.
ఇంగ్లీష్లో ఇక్కడ చెప్పారు కదా చాలా శ్రమ పడాలని. సో he has written strenuous efforts.
Strenuous efforts. Strenuous efforts we have to do, he says. यदा तु संप्राप्तं भवति संप्राप्तं इति अभिमुखी भवति इत्यर्थः. Then only the mind turns towards the Atman. Tata tanna vichalet. When once it goes towards the Atman, then don't entertain any desire. You should not disturb it. Abhimukam na kuryad ityartha. We are reading the English commentary. Thus, by the two means, namely practice of knowledge and dispassion, these things in 453 he told, that we will tell afterwards. The mind merged in deep sleep should be awakened, laya. That is to say, it should be associated with the discriminating perception of the self. The word chitta does not mean anything different from mind, and the mind distracted by the enjoyment of desires should be brought back to tranquility. This only yesterday we have discussed. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param dushtva nivartate. The Sri Krishna says this kashaya as rasavarjam. Rasaha. They are so deep. What is the first line? Rasavarjam rasopyasya param dushtva nivartate. I think 259 something you told.
When he says that the mind that is merging deep sleep should be awakened. Deep sleep is here is an allegory for non-apprehension, or because if a man
No. You want to practice, then it is going to sleep. Laya, he says. Laya, if you take deep sleep, you cannot awaken. So, when you have started meditation and started dozing, at that time you should awaken it. So, my teacher used to ask, how many fish today you got? How many fish? FISH, fish. That means, you see, in India, they put that this thing and they catch the fish. So whenever the fish drags the food, that outer that lighter thing goes down. So he used to say, how many times you have dosed? He meant to say, Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param dushtva nivartate. When you experience the highest, then only these all things you can eradicate. When you eradicate, then only you will experience. Vice versa. Equally proportional. With the mind is awakened from deep sleep and withdrawn from the objects of the desire, but is not at the same time settled down in a state of tranquility and is in an intermediate state, then the mind should be known as passion-tinged and as remaining in a seed state with desires in a seed form. Even from that state, it should be, by strenuous efforts, led to equilibrium. So I have explained so much. This says that particular rasavarjam rasopyasya, by strenuous efforts you have to. Strenuous efforts. But when the mind attains that state of equilibrium, when it moves toward the state of equilibrium, one should not disturb it from the direction. One should not turn it towards the objects of desire. So, atmasamstam manakrutva na kinchidapi chintayet. When it goes to the equilibrium, it again you should not disturb. Just, oh, 2 minutes. Some sub-commentary is left here for the 44. Intermediate stage is explained as sakashayam, intermediate stage. Attachment is due to objects enjoyed previously. If the mind goes there, then you should, by strenuous efforts, you should bring it back. Tatopi, he says, with efforts you should bring it back. He says to the samya prapti, that is asampragnata samadhi, that is not savikalpa. Nirvikalpa samadhi is called asampragnata samadhi. By the two types of samadhi, sampragnata and asampragnata, by both, first you make it sampragnata, that is brahmakara vritti, then go to the, you dissolve that, go to the nirvikalpa. So, dissolve the mind in the Atman. Mind is restrained. Then he says, what is the result if the mind is restrained? That he is asking. He says, abhimukhi bhavati tatha tanna vichalayet vishayabhimukam na kuryat. But when the mind attains that state of equilibrium, meaning when it moves towards the state of equilibrium, one should not disturb it from the direction. So, what is the result? East moves towards equilibrium. It goes to the oneness. Now he says, Same Brahmani ekatam nayet. When it goes towards the equilibrium, when it moves, you take it completely, merge it. And he says, do not enjoy the happiness of even savikalpa. Because in savikalpa, you are having the joy as well as the experience of the Atma. After getting the brahmakara vritti, so you will be having the joy, bliss of the Atman, and you will be experiencing the Atman. But you have not realized it. So, don't stuck up there. As rasaswada we can say. Go forward. Na aswadiyet. Na aswadiyet sukham tatra nissangaha prajñā bhavet. He says, using your discrimination, merge the mind and be one. It says, prajñā bhavet. Nischalam nischarat chittam eki kuryat prayatnataha. And nischalam, when it is not oscillating or when there is no disturbance, even in the as the form of savikalpa, then eki kuryat prayatnataha. Make it one, he says. In that state, one should not enjoy the happiness, savikalpa, but should by means of discrimination become unattached to even to that happiness. When the mind that has become still tends towards wandering, if it wants to wander, it should be unified with efforts, with this self. If he gets happiness in savikalpa, you should forego thinking happiness is the effort of ignorance, effect of ignorance. So, because the tripudi is there, a thing that is to be enjoyed, enjoyer and enjoying. That's why he feels happiness. Then he says, this is the effect of ignorance. Thinking so, give it up. Yes. Nisangaha. Then, if the mind goes out, then dissolve it in Atman alone. Parisuddha paripurna brahmatmaka swayam tishtet. These are the words used by the sub-commentator. Nisangha prajna bhavet. What is that? He says, it is only pure and it is all-pervading, paripurna, brahmatmakam. The Atman and Brahman are one. In that state, he says, swayam tishtet, nischarat chittam eki kuriyat prayatataha. And again, if it goes here and there, you make one. That is told in the last one. When the mind that has become still tends towards wandering, it should be unified with efforts. That he says. Now, samadhitsataha yoginaha yat sukham jayate tanna aswadayet. The yogi aspiring after samadhi, deep concentration, should not enjoy the happiness that comes out of it, meaning he should not become attached to it. Then he says, Satra na rajyeta. He should not become attached to it. Then what to do? Then he says, Nisango, nispraha prajna viveka buddhya yadupalabhyate sukham tad avidya parikalpitam rushaye viti vibhavayet. How should he view it? There, becoming unattached, desireless, he should, by dint of discriminating intellect, think that whatever is called happiness is all a product of ignorance and is false, meaning even from the state of attachment to happiness, the mind should be withdrawn. So, that in Gita, Sri Krishna says, Sattva sanjayate sukham. But that also you should overcome. Nistraya gunyo bhavarjuna. Go beyond all the gunas. Tatopi sukharaga nigraniyat idyataha. Even from the state of attachment to happiness, the mind should be withdrawn, he says. Yada, this is yada but not yatha. You have to correct it. Yada punah.
These Tamilians, they don't know the difference between ta and tha. That's the reason you see this is typed in
But
South India, Tamil.
the translator is not a Tamilian.
No.
He is a Malayali.
Of course, we are not talking about the translator, we are talking about the typing mistakes.
Ah.
The translator is not Tamilian. That's the reason translation is done properly.
What is yatha?
When?
When?
What is yatha?
Like
It
that.
has
Yatha is
like that. Yada punha sukaraga nivrittam निश्चल स्वभावम सन निश्चरत बहिर् निर्गच्छत भवति चित्तम तत् ततः ततो नियम्य मुक्त उपायेन आत्मनेव एकीकुर्यात् प्रयत्नतः. When again the mind that is withdrawn from the attachment to happiness and that has become of a steady nature tends towards wandering, then withdrawing it from the state with the help of aforesaid means, that is discrimination, dispassion, jnanabhyasa, sravanamanajam, it should be unified in the self itself with efforts, meaning it should be directed toward the attainment of its own nature of pure consciousness. Chitta swarupa satta matrameva apadiyet. It should go back to its own nature. That is where from it has come. Dissolve the Atman by jnanabhyasa. Sravana you have done, you should deepen the reflection, manana, and finally nididhyasana. Make one by dissolving the mind in the Atman. You should make it one. Even dissolve. That's why it says chitta swarupa satta matrameva. Now, yadana liyate chittam nacha vikshipyate punaha aninganam anabhasam nishpannam brahma tattada. In the middle, this opponent has asked when he will be attaining Brahman. That is answered. When he realizes Brahman, yada yada na liyate chittam na te vikshipyate punaha aninganam anabhasam nishpannam brahma tattada. When the mind does not become merged, not distracted again, when it becomes motionless and does not make appearances as objects, then it really becomes Brahman. Mind does not become merged. It says, yadana liyate. Now, this chitta is not completely dissolved in Atman. Not distracted again, but it is not distracted also. When it becomes motionless and does not make appearance as objects. Yesterday, I gave the illustration, when you turn the mirror towards the clear sky, no object to reflect. That does not make appearances as objects, then it really becomes Brahman. Then it becomes Brahman, he says. Now, the mind is without all these obstacles which have been shown. Laya, vikshepa, kashaya, rasa, swadha, raga, dvesha, sukha, all these things. Nivata deepa kalpam is going to tell, when you put a lamp where there is no air, the flame of the lamp does not oscillate, vibrate. Huh? Flicker. Oh, it is flickering. A lamp is called flickering. Then from obstacles, then the obstacles are removed, then it becomes one with Brahman. So, this is called aninganam. Aninganam means lack of flickering like the lamp, there should not be any oscillations in the mind. When it is deprived of obstacles, not taking the form of any object, then realizes Brahman, he says. Yathokta upayena nigrihitam chittam. So when the mind is restrained by the aforesaid means, so many things he has told, by does not become merged in deep sleep, nigrihitam chittam yada sushuptena liyate. So it is not going to sleep while meditating. Nacha punar vishayeshu vikshipyate. And it is not disturbed to the objects. Aninganam achalam. Mind is still like the flame of a lamp that is not disturbed by a breeze. Nivata pradeepa kalpam anabhasam. Does not appear in the form of any object. Anabhasam means the mind is not appearing like an object. Kenichit kalpitena vishaya bhavena avabhasate iti yada evam lakshanam chittam tada nishpannam brahma brahma swarupena nishpannam chittam bhavati ityatha. When the mind restrained by the aforesaid means does not become merged in deep sleep, nor does again become torn amid objects of desire, is not disturbed. And when the mind is still, like the flame of a lamp that is not disturbed by breeze, and does not appear in the form of any object, imagined in any manner. That is to say, when the mind becomes possessed of these characteristics, then it becomes Brahman. The mind then becomes one with Brahman. So he says, by jnana, abhyasa, discrimination, you have to restrain the mind. Then he should not go to sleep also, and he should not get vibrated because of the ragadi vasana sunyam, he says. The subcommentator says, ragadi vasana sunyam. Attachment to something, we should become completely removed. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param dustvani, that rasam also should be resumed without oscillations, just like the lamp put where there is no breeze. When it becomes one with Brahman, then he realizes Brahman. So, the mind should be completely dissolved. There should not be any trinity. Trinity? The knower, the knowing, and the knowing process should not be there. What is there, that it should be. Then who will tell you? Self-luminous, that's why that is called knowledge. And if the ordinary person goes to that state, the yoga says within 21 days he will leave the body. Nengate. Flickering of the lamp, he says. Now, so far he has explained, mind then becomes one with Brahman. Now the opponents ask, what is that state? What is that state?
What is that state? What is that state? Swamiji, that means one is with Brahman.
The mind then becomes one with Brahman, he told. So now the opponent is asking, describe that state. Wonderful fellow. But Gaudapadacharya tries to explain it. Swastham. So, this word, previously also I told, That is, say, our 10th pontiff, if somebody comes and asks, there for health, they use the word swasthyam. Swasthyam. आप स्वस्थ है? When they ask about the gross body, is to scold them. Are the sannyasi is always swastha. Swastha means, swa means atma. Stha means to stay there. He always thinks of the atman and he is staying there. Why again you go and ask, are you keeping well? So he said you should not ask like this. That is called swastha. Swa is in Sanskrit atma. Stha to stay, to stable. So that is swastham. Shantam. It is calm. Sanirvanam. It is with liberation. Akhatyam sukham uttamam. You cannot express in words, but it is the highest bliss. Ajam, no birth. Ajena jnayena sarvangyam parichakshate. Since it is one with the unborn noble Brahman, the knowers of Brahman speak of it as the omniscient. That's all. This much. But they are not telling. The knowers of the Brahman are speaking, he says. The highest bliss exists in one's own self. Swastham. That is called swastham. It is calm, shantam, sanirvanam, identical with liberation. No dukkham there. Indescribable, akathyam, sukham uttamam, and unborn, ajam. Since it is one with the unborn noble Brahman, the knowers of Brahman speak of it as the omniscient Brahman. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman itself. Brahma Veda, Brahma eva bhavati. One you see, if he becomes one with the what to be known, jnayena, he becomes one. The realized person says, sarvajnam. What he says, the realized persons, it is omniscient, it knows everything. It is the highest goal. Highest goal, Parama Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So the fourth one is highest goal. That is called Parama Purushartha Sukham. To remove relative happiness, the adjective is given Paramartham. He says, now he is explaining the commentary. Yethoktam Paramartha Sukham Atma Satyanubodha Lakshanam. Atma Satyanubodha Lakshanam. This yesterday we have noted down. Paramartham, the absolute. Atma Satyanubodha Lakshanam, knowing the self. Swastham, that is what he is explaining. Swatmanishtitam. Swastham is residing in his own self. Shantam Sarvanatha Upashama Rupam. What is Shantam? No oscillation at all. So, what is the use of knowledge? By negating so many things, then it says, Yethoktam Paramarthasukam Atma Satyanubodha Lakshanam Swastham. That Yatha Jatam idam ajam yatha vishaya vishayam. See, this particular happiness is not like the happiness that you get in the presence of an object. In the presence of an object, when you are attached to it, it is not like that. Na jati. This is natural and it is within you. What is the use of knowledge? It is self-effulgent, so knowledge is not necessary. When you say the Atman is knowledge and it is already self-effulgent, then again why we should get knowledge? It is already there with us. Huh? What is the use of all the scriptures when we are already having the Atman with us? It is, you are telling it is self-effulgent. It is full of knowledge. And why should we do so much of effort to control the mind and these things? Then he says, Atma Satyanubodha Lakshanam. You know it in general, that something is there. Something is bliss, something is happiness, but you are not so far experienced. There they say, a particular sweet was given to a boy or a man. Say Rasagulla. So much of juice. And he has given. And what he is doing? He has thrown it away and started licking the hand. So like this, the ignorant person, he has thrown away the Rasagulla and just licking. What happiness he will get in the objects? And again still, you see, they say, he has started searching the gems and pearls from the seashore. So he got one very good gem. And he thought this is not gem, he has thrown it away. And just he has picked up a glass piece. Oh, this is the gem. Now what he will get money out of that glass piece? It is something like that, he says. Now he says, why we are telling, see, you have misunderstood. He says, what is the use of reading scriptures? When I am already having, you are having, that is quite useless. You are only licking the hand. The original sweet you have not got. It is known through Shastra, Guru. So, it was declared, Atman stays in its own omnipotent majesty. Then he asks where it stays. First he told, you see, Shantam Sarva Anartha Upashama Rupam. Why we should know again? Because so much of difficulties and sorrow, not having the bliss. So, just I remember something. There was a saint you must be knowing, Nasruddin. So, once he went to his master, see, my house is very small. You are a great master. You just bless me so that I will get a big house. He knows he is not having money to construct a big house. So somehow he has to teach something. Then, you see, he will get a good house, big house, no doubt. But before that, what I say that you have to follow. Then all right, because he is Guru. Cold season is coming. So you are having so many pets. Hen, sheep, cow, goats. So you see, they will all die in the cold. So first you do one thing. You bring all of them and tie in your room. They should be with you in the room. Get adjusted with them. Because Guruji told, he has accepted. So after that, the season went off. Cold season, summer season has come, and he says, now you put all the animals outside. Because of the summer season. Now your house is, yes, it is very big, he says. Why? You see, Atman stays in its own omnipotent majesty. Everything is within you. You have to get adjusted with your mind. So he says, Sarvanartha upashama rupam. Whenever you stay outside without thinking the Atman, something or other difficulty you will be getting. Just like Nasruddin. He wanted a big house. Some difficulty he has to face. So whenever you want something, you have to face. And he says, the whole world is full of misery. That he already told. Besides the Atman, whatever is there, that is only misery and misery. Sri Krishna says, Dukkhalayam asashvatam. Anartha upashama rupam. But in the Atman, no difficulty, only bliss and bliss. Sanirvanam. Nivritti nirvanam kaivalyam sa nirvanena vartate. Nirvana is only bliss. In that he is staying. All the obstacles are removed and all the sorrows are removed from the mind. Then he reaches the goal. Sarvanartha upashama rupam. Complete happiness and negating, how he gets this complete bliss? By negating completely all the sorrow, all the difficulties. That is Atyantika dukha nivritti, Atyantika sukha prapti. That is absolutely getting the happiness and completely removing all the sorrow, difficulties. Then how is that Brahman in Samadhi? Again he is putting the question. Sanirvanam. He says, it is Nirgata Bana Yasmat. Nirvanam. Va, actually, the root verb Va Gati Gandhanayoho. Va. Gati Gandhana. Gandhana means smelling. But Vabayor Abheda. Va and Ba are used in the same sense. So, Nirvana, Nirgataha Vana Yasmat. Actually, the bodies are called Bana. This is the gross body, this is called Bana. So, this Bana, he says Vabayor Abheda. There is no difference in Va and Ba. So, he has nicely removed all the bodies, gross, subtle and causal. Nirgata Bana Yasma Nirvana. That means he is stable in Atman. That is called Nirvana. So, how is that Brahman? It is Samadhi, it is Nirvana. And previously as explained, when the mind is completely merged in Atman, That Atman is called Samadhi. So now he is asking what is Samadhi? He just reverses the coin, Nirvana, when there is no. First, merging the mind in Atman is called Samadhi. Then what is that? Is said Nirvana, when there are no bodies, all the five sheets, other things. It has to be explained. It has to be experienced, not to be explained, he says. Akathyam, you cannot explain. Na sakyate kathaitum. Atyanta asadharana vishayatvad is not a general thing. Tacha akathyam. Now, telling about the absolute happiness. Sukham uttamam niritashyam. Absolute happiness is there. Tad yogi pratyakshameva. Then he says, only only those yogis will be getting perceptible. For yogis means those who practice all these things, discrimination, dispassion, savana, manajasana, all these things. Yogi bhi. Na jatam iti ajam. It is not having birth. Yatha vishaya vishayam. Ajena anutpannena gneyena avyatiriktam. It is not different from the thing that which has not born. Satsvena sarvagnya rupena sarvagyam brahmaiva sukham. That the omniscient, that itself is the highest bliss, like that the knowers of Brahman say. He says. That supreme bliss, already spoken of and possessed of the characteristic of the realization of the truth, that is the self. Exists in one's own self. It is serene, nature of cessation of all evils, and it coexists with emancipation. It is not possible to describe it, since it is absolutely unique. It is the highest bliss, is perceptible to yogis alone, and is unsurpassed. This bliss is not born like the happiness that results from the ephemeral perceptions, since this happiness is not distinct from the unborn noble. It is Brahman in its real nature of omniscience, and the knowers of Brahman speak of it as the omniscient Brahman.